Right, so we're determining the equation of a graph, and I'm going to make a short video on each of the questions that you needed to do, and each video is going to be separate. So just jump through. If you got B and you're happy, jump through to the next one. So for this first one that we're given this hyperbola over here, and we know the general form of the equation, but they've told us y equals a over x minus p plus q. Okay, so what did our p value relate to? Left and right shift, right? So this is to do with left and right. Well, what has this function done? Well, it's moved right by 1. So in other words, it's going to feel like that opposite. So this value here is going to be like a minus 1. So our p value we can get to from that left-right shift. And we're saying that it's x minus p. P is just the same as this value, 1. So it's going to be p equals 1, so that it goes x minus 1. So it feels like minus 1. Oh, it's done the opposite. It's moved to the right. And our q value, q relates to in all our functions up and down. So what's happened here? This graph has moved up by 1. We can see from this horizontal asymptote from y equals 1. So we know that q also equals 1. So our function's looking like y equals a over x minus 1 plus 1. This plus 1 because we've moved up by 1. This minus 1 because we've moved right by 1. Okay, and how do we determine what a is? We just substitute this value 0, 3, because it's sitting on the function. So it's sitting over there, we can substitute it in. So our y value is 3, so we can go 3 equals a over x. Well, our x value is 0 minus 1 plus 1. Okay, now we've got an equation, one variable, so let's just solve it. So we've got 3 equals a over negative 1 plus 1. Let's subtract 1 from each side. So we've got 2 equals a over negative 1. In other words, negative a is 2. Or we could say, well, let's multiply this by negative 1 so that these cancel. What we do on one side, we do on the other. And we have that negative 2 equals a. Let's finish that all off and say, well, cool. That means that our final equation is y equals a negative 2 over x minus 1 plus 1. Let's just check. Our last little check always is a. Should a be positive or negative? Well, our normal kind of our positive hyperbola would be in quadrant 1 and quadrant, what's it, 1, 2, 3, 4. So then, or quadrant 1 and 3, so then it's reflected about. So we know that this a value should be a negative. So there's our final answer. Remember, that's not to say that a is perfect, but we know that it should have been a negative because of that reflection. So that's question B. Hopefully did okay.